Hey guys, this is Kin Kong Moy, KinKongTraining.com. With me again is Golden Gloves champion, Waset Tafari. Today we're going to go over the basics of how to be a good partner. We're going to cover the most common mistakes that I see in the gym, and we're going to detail how to correct them. So the first thing I want to go over is how to hold mitts for a partner correctly, because as the class format has become more and more popular in fighting gyms, you'll often see people doing training in this manner. So me and Waset will be holding mitts for each other. He'll hold like a jab cross for me, and it'll be, and this is how we do a lot of our drilling. But a lot of times, especially newer people, but even some experienced people, don't realize where to hold the mitts. A big mistake that people make is they hold it too far apart, and then it becomes, instead of simulating one target, the opponent's face, it simulates two different targets. So if me and him are doing that, and you'll see it looks like ridiculous. And it promotes worse form for me because I'm punching wide and all over the place. So instead he's going to hold him pretty much in front of his face. So that way I'm aiming for his face, and it simulates what I'm actually going to be doing in a fight. Another important thing to discuss about pad holding for a partner is the pressure and how you're going to actually meet the punches. There are two big mistakes that people make here. Again, mostly beginners, but I've seen fairly experienced people do these goof-ups as well. So that's why we're covering it today. The first one is pushing too hard. Instead of allowing the person to fully extend and meeting it just in front, a big mistake that people make is they'll try to stifle the punch. They'll slam it so hard it'll either hurt the guy's wrist or he just doesn't get to extend. So what that'll look like is, I can't even, my full extension ends up being here because he's doing more work than I am. It's, producing bad habits for me. And it's really frustrating because I don't feel like I'm getting my hits off correctly. Even more frustrating, perhaps, is the equivalent of a limp noodle handshake. Some people do that with their pads too. When it gets hit, instead of giving me the pressure that I need, he'll just be floppy. And it really drives me crazy. It might not be as apparent visually, but it just feels like I'm hitting like mush. So what he really wants to do instead is he wants to give it a little pulse, so there's firmness and pressure. It feels like I've got impact, but he's only moving it a couple of inches from where it originally was, and that way I'm still getting the full extension. So what that'll look like is, now that was satisfying. I felt the impact, I got the full rotation and extension, and it looked damn good if I do say so myself. One that really gets me is when you've got a bad partner when you're doing head movement drills. Because a lot of times you'll see people practicing, slipping, weaving, all very important skills to be practicing. But if your partner does it incorrectly, if they're feeding you the punches to roll under incorrectly, it will actually build bad habits for yourself, or you'll think that the moves don't actually work. So for instance, if he throws a proper jab cross at me, you'll find me getting my head to the side. And that's how it's supposed to go. I'm building that habit. But if he throws them too wide, not actually aiming for me, I think I'm dodging it, but in reality, I might not actually be moving my head enough. So I get into this groove where I think, yeah, I've got this. But when I spar with someone who's throwing it for real, what ends up happening is I just eat them. So that's no good. Also, on the opposite end of the spectrum, sometimes people, again, newer people don't realize that when you really aim at someone's face with intention and they dodge, you'll probably miss them. But they, because they're new and don't realize this, they'll start throwing where their partner is actually headed. So he knows, because this is it's preordained where my head's going to go. He knows my head's going to be here and here. So if he starts throwing it in that direction, like, he knows I'm slipping this way, so he throws it out, boom, that's equally not useful and a bad habit as well. The same goes for when you're weaving. So sometimes people give you a false sense of security by throwing over your head, so you're not actually not really getting under anything. You think you are, but it's not adequate. And then conversely, some people, know you're ducking, so they'll throw it low, and you try to go low and you just get slapped. So both of those are bad habits, and a good partner is going to throw it where your head is at that moment. So when he throws that 1-2, my head's right here, and when I shift over here, now my head's on this side, so that's where he'll throw it, where it is, and I'll get my head out of the way. When we're starting for the weaves, my head's right here at this level, he's going to throw it to take off my head. So I actually have to get under. But he's not throwing where I'm going, and he's not throwing over me. And these are important habits to develop as a partner so that both you and your training partners can get better. And finally, this is sort of a broader category that we'll put under just, the Johnny Tryhard gym hero mistake, where if we're just doing, maybe the drill is jab, cross, hook, and I'm just supposed to catch them from my partner, Johnny Tryhard, instead of me catching these like I should, go ahead, boom, boom, give me a jab, cross, hook, boom, 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 you'll see Johnny Tryhard go ahead, start pairing these and trying to do all, or go ahead, he'll start, moving out of the way and all sorts of junk. You'll see that a lot from some people, and that's equally disruptive to good training. So there you have it. There are your most common mistakes in partner drilling. And if you avoid those and make sure that you aim for your partner's faces when you're doing, slipping and weaving drills, if you make sure that your hands aren't too wide when you're holding mitts for them, and make sure that you give them the right amount of pat, you'll be all set. You guys will be improving together, and no one will harbor secret grudges against their shitty training partner.